minutes. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 13 of Great Race Plays right here on the HHH Racing Podcast as we cover the Sunday late pick fours right here along with my good friend Pete Visco and Paul Halloran. Pete is from the East Coast of Maryland and Paul is from the Saratoga Special and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We apologize for last week. We had some scheduling issues. I was at the NHC in Las Vegas, and we were not able to have a Great Race Plays show. But gentlemen, we are back for episode 13 as we get closer and closer to the Kentucky Derby in 6 weeks. And for all you West Coast racing fans, and thank you very much for watching the HHH Racing Podcast on especially the Santa Anita X channel or their YouTube channel. Guys, we got 2 weeks to what's going to be a thrilling Santa Anita Derby with some serious Kentucky Derby threats. How you guys doing tonight?
Awesome. What's up, gentlemen? Hey, Paul.
Hey, Pete. Long time no see.
I know. It's been about whole 10 minutes or so.
We're filming here live Thursday night. Of course, there's something called the NCAA basketball tournament going on, but very simple. You can watch the game, right, guys? Go ahead and watch the game. Just turn the volume down and turn the volume up on your laptop or your tablet, whatever. We already had an upset today. Again, we're filming here live Thursday. It looks like Drake, which would be nice for my bracket, could be beating Missouri. Mr. Calipari's moving on, Pete, for the Italian brothers and sisters out there. And so McNeese State moves on. Guys, it is definitely upset city. Again, a 5-12, about as reliable as having over 100,000 at Churchill Downs coming up in 6 weeks, guys.
Yeah, I had Clemson in my Final Four, so I wasn't too happy about that game.
I thought Clemson was actually interesting this year. Boy, were they bad for
They were bad for what? I turned the game off. I turned the game off with about a minute left because I was so pissed, and then I look at the score and saw that they actually tied it and lost it on free throws. So I'm proud.
No, they never tied it, Pete.
Oh, they never tied it? I thought they did it. Oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah. But they were closer than.
I wasted. I had McNeese State in a parlay and a money line, and I just needed Yale. I got greedy. I went with Yale. It was like a 21-1 money line.
I was just cheering because I have Yale in a teaser, and they needed. I've got them plus 12.5, and they're barely scraping by on
wasted McNeese State. But anyway.
We move on. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. We're going to have detailed tip sheet information. For those of you that are not familiar with our podcast, we're going to have expanded Power Pick tip sheets from different tracks and much more to offer you. I'll talk about that halfway through the show. But look below our video player on YouTube for information about Power Picks tip sheet, which you can buy through Patreon. We're also going to have a lot of information on our website. We already do have a lot of information on our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Please check all that out. Gentlemen, like I said, we're going to talk about the late pick four Sunday at Santa Anita, as always. Very interesting sequence this weekend. I got to say, I'm glad we're doing the Sunday late pick fours, guys. They've been really good this year. They've been big fields. Some of them have paid quite well. Hats off to the racing secretaries for putting together quality fields on both days of the weekend. There is the China Doll Stakes earlier in the card on Sunday. It's only a field of 5. It's in race 3. We are not going to discuss the China Doll Stakes, but I'd be remiss if I at least did not bring that up. I'll tell you what I am going to bring up, gentlemen, is the first race of the early pick 4 on Sunday. It is not that. Let's go back. Let me try something else. Whoop. First host fail of the day. Hopefully the last one. There we go. Late pick 4, 3:30 local on Sunday. Starts in race 6. Maiden claiming 32,000. Restricted 3-year-olds on the dirt. Nice field of 9. We do not have morning lines as usual. They'll be coming out early tomorrow on Friday. I would assume the number 7 guys, Uncle Evco, and the number 9, Cano for the win. Both dropping down. However, both dropping down out of turf races. One's got Pratt, one's got Fresu, one's McCarthy, one's O'Neill. I would assume those are going to be the two favorites. But I got to tell you guys, I'm not sure how likable they are. I'm not sure how likely they are. In fact, I am going to try to beat them, although recognizing they are probably the horses to beat. I'm going 4-9-7. Paul's going 9-1-4, and Paul's going 7-9-1. And what you're going to find, ladies and gentlemen, is sometimes we're the same, sometimes we're different. Guys, we're going to be quite different tonight, which I like. It'll give our viewers and listeners a good perspective and some choices. Paul, let's go to you. You're going to go to number 9, Cano for the win, O'Neill and Fresu to kick off this late pick 4 on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point, Howard, about the dropping down, but off turf. Although, the one race that cemented the deal for me with the 9 was the second career race, a mile on the dirt at Del Mar. Respectable third, didn't take any money, split the field, lost by just under 4 lengths. So that to me is a proven commodity on dirt, although the breeding certainly says turf, doesn't it? But I could certainly, there's no reason why the 7 can't run on dirt. Just hasn't happened yet. So I didn't want to take both of them. So I went with the 9 off the one good dirt, relatively good dirt race.
Paul, for you, is this just simple as he might be a turf horse, but he's just the most talented horse in the field? Is it that simple?
Yeah, it's as simple as that. The biggest drop in racing is maiden special to maiden claiming.
For sure.
So I think it's one of them, and as I say, that's why, and I landed on the 9 with the good dirt race.
Hey, Paul, I almost put the 9 on top just because I had a bunch of good Doug O'Neill stats trying to figure out if this combination of the drop and turf, and there was one where Doug O'Neill, if he's doing turf to dirt and the maiden special weight to maiden claiming drop, since 2023, 38% wins, 75% in the money. And he has some really good stats doing the drop and then doing the turf to dirt. In maiden claiming, he's 30%. So there were a lot of good stats where the combination of moves here is okay for Doug O'Neill, which is why I was basically 7-9, and they were interchangeable for me.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the 7 in just a second. I'm looking at the chat, really live chat, of course. James is here. Lucky 13. What's up, James? Thanks for joining the show. We have Katie here, of course. We've got Tom Espinoza from San Francisco area, like the Sunday Late Pick 4. Fun way to close out the weekend. Absolutely. Appreciate if you are watching right now live on YouTube. Please make sure you join our live chat. It makes the show go even better and more entertaining. Pete, you've got the 7, who also has been in turf, but this is a Calbred who's been in Calbred races on turf, has never been on dirt. The Grand Sire is Curlin, but there's not a lot of dirt breeding here necessarily either.
No, there wasn't. And I was going more, I think, connection than the actual breeding in this case, where it's funny because you see a McCarthy and the Pratt combo, and they're very successful together. So even when maybe what I'm seeing on the horse itself doesn't lead me to that, I kind of find my way there anyway, which I don't know if that's the best thing in the world. The couple of stats I did have, McCarthy's 31% wins, 65% in the money, turf to dirt at the maiden claiming level. So again, we're talking about a big drop. I mean, this is a horse that was in the Zuma Beach last year, not very successfully, but they still thought enough of this horse to try that. And he hasn't embarrassed himself. They're putting blinkers on, I assume, to maybe just get a little bit more involved. Now you're getting Pratt from Carmona, which is a huge, obvious upgrade. And again, we're getting the drop. And and at the maiden level, it's funny. The maiden level jockey changed to Pratt on dirt for McCarthy. He's only 3 for 27, but he hits the board a lot, 67%. But he's got 3 wins and 3 shows in their last 6. So again, there's a lot of connection statistics that make me like this horse. And he's shown enough talent on the turf to where if he takes to the dirt, I think he's just good enough.
Yeah, I think the 7 can absolutely win. I'm gonna try to beat the 2. I'm not feeling really confident about it. I'm gonna go with the number 4, Kirsting Court, who you don't see this on the screen. You do see that he is a gelding. He was gelded before his last start, guys. He was gelded somewhere around February 4th, and he acted like he was gelded because he ran a lot better. And if you watch the replay, he was like way far back, made a very nice late run. Again, it was not; these are not the best horses. If he is a new horse and acts like a new horse for Sean McCarthy and Tyler Bays, I think he's got a shot. He's probably going to be 8-1 morning line. Again, I don't love the 4, but this is more a little bit negative to the 7 and 9 guys who would obviously be on my ticket. I'm mainly going to go 4, 7, 9 in the late pick 4 on Sunday.
You think he'll be a big price, Howard? That horse, that 4?
I do. I mean, the only buyer is a 53. That's best. Yeah. And look, I mean, there aren't a lot of great buyers in this race, but it's Tyler Bays. It's McCarthy.
Because I had him as he was like my 4th horse, and it was more though. I had a hard time on the win end because he still hasn't figured, even with the gelding, he hasn't figured out how to break yet,
doubt.
And there wasn't a ton of pace here, so I was concerned about the win end. But I think if he's I don't know, 15 something, 12. 15, you put him in the try, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not my strongest pick. I don't. Expect him. I don't expect him to win.
I like
it. Yeah, I don't expect him to win. To be very honest, people are like, well, why are you picking him? Because I don't love 7 and 9. That's why. And this game is about value, so that's where I'm going. Let's go to leg 2, guys, of the late pick 4 on Sunday. This is a really interesting race. It's a 1.8 on the turf. The rail is out 20 feet. That might help the speed just a little bit. Weather's going to be great out there. No problem. This is for restricted California-bred 3-year-old fillies. And I bring that up because some of these horses have been racing against their own kind, so to speak, and some have been in open company. And in this situation, I'm always going to favor horses that are running an open company if they've shown something. Not that Cal-breds are that poor, or that untalented, but the open company horses clearly on average are better and faster. Let's see where we're going. I'm going 165. Pete's going 5-4. Sorry, Paul's going 5-4-3. Excuse me. Pete is going 3-5-6. Gentlemen, we have 3 different horses on top. So let's go to Pete this time. Pete, you're number 3. We the Hobby. Nice combination, Miller and Fresu. What do you like about the number 3, We the Hobby?
Yeah, they stretched this horse out last time, but it was in a state-bred stakes race, and it was a huge number, but didn't run poorly until sort of late, just sort of faded late. But I mean, still finished 6th, but only lost by 1 1/4 lengths, and was sort of on the pace. Now you get a little bit of time off, take off the blinkers, adding Lasix, you get Fresu back. I thought maybe now that we're dropping back down at the maiden special weight level, I think maybe they just got a little too ambitious with that last one. And if we can run a similar trip and basically a sort of a similar figure, or at least in that range, I think against this field, this horse will be in much better shape. The one thing that concerns me, if you look at every one of her races, she hasn't made up ground in the stretch in any of them. And now we're stretching out. But the thing I didn't mind maybe is that maybe this could be one of those horses that can get on the lead from a time form standpoint. I think has the pace advantage, if I remember correctly. And if we can get this horse on the lead, and it could be one of those where you sort of back it down, and this could be one that the speed carries going longer than it does going shorter. So that was my thought. Again, I don't know if it's my greatest opinion ever, but there was enough to like where I think a move forward here with the blinkers off and the Lasix, I think that potentially could get this horse on the lead and see if we can carry it the whole way.
I think your mindset is correct, Pete, and I think you could be correct, but here's my pushback. The Ohms, what's amazing is Ohm was a really nice horse. I mean, remember Ohm fast?
Yeah.
Fast, but a mile was basically his best distance.
Yeah.
And shockingly enough, the siblings of Ohm. I'm sorry, I wanted to go back. The siblings of Ohm. How about 0 for 11 in turf routes? I mean, so he's not a great sire. I watched this horse, and we'll watch the replay real quick because there are horses coming out of this race. Obviously, this was a better, these are better horses than what he's facing. I mean, the winner and the third place, they got 64, 63, 61, but the winner came back with a 76. The third place finisher came back with a 72. So these are definitely better horses that she ran against, but she's the 7 here. I just don't like clunked up fields at the end. We've talked about this a lot on turf, and I don't her stride. She's the 7 here. I just don't see like a really stride that where she wants to go longer. I don't know. Like right here, again, I know it's better horses, but she just, like you said, just gives it up every single time. And I know she only gave up by a length, but there are a lot of horses that came over the top here, Pete. So yes, if she gets loose, I think she can win, but there's some vibes that tell me no, but I certainly respect your pick. Let's go with Paul's pick, which is the number 5. Less is more. Yeah, is that right? Yeah, less is more. Who is coming out of that same race? They were basically like less is more was on the lead in that race. So you're thinking basically the same thing, Paul, as Pete, just with a different horse.
I was listening to Pete saying, "Gee, this sounds logical." Oh, that's right. I was
thinking the same thing.
But the one thing I will say that is kind of an X factor here, how it is the mile and an eighth. You got horses adding a furlong. So one of the things I looked at, and I think you were referring to the progeny of Ohm, not the siblings, when you showed that.
I'm sorry. You're correct.
I looked at for a race like this when they're stretching out. If you click on the sire, you'll see the average winning distance of the progeny.
Yes.
And I went with my friend Nyquist. They go up to 7. The average winning distance is 7.1 furlongs, which is higher than most in here. And I think that this horse could stretch out. All the questions that you brought up about Pete's horse apply here. So nothing too clever here. But I do think that if my horse gets the trip that Pete thinks his horse is going to get, I could be in good shape, and vice versa, Pete.
That's why I have them 1-2, Paul. I figure maybe one of them gets the right trip, and we can get one of them home at least.
Oddly enough, I have the 3/3, so we're thinking alike.
But Paul, the progeny of Nyquist are much more likely to win in turf routes. Obviously, you can see on the screen they've won $7 million as opposed to never won a race. Again, Pete, your horse can win. We got to bring up the numbers. Let people make their own decisions. Second off a layoff, I think less is more. I have in third. I like this one, no pun intended, much more than the 3, in my opinion. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of Mike Smith anymore. I love the guy. He's a Hall of Famer. He just doesn't win as much now as he used to as he's getting up there in age. He rode Suntory Time, the number 1, like she needed the start, the horse, guys. Clubhouse ride, lucky pulpit, plenty of breeding for turf. I just want to show the replay. Did no running early. I mean, was way back. And Smith just seemed to be happy with that, as if Baltus was saying, let's just give her one. She's the 7. She had no chance in this race. I mean, look, she's way back there, guys. And it was not a blazing pace. I mean, it was honest, but I love the run through the stretch. And we talked about gallop outs jokingly on our Picks and Ponies show earlier tonight. Please check that out, episode 400. Look, can you guys see the hands? I don't know if you guys saw the hands. He was Smith is way back here. Wasn't even like asking, and then like still not asking, right? Like still not asking. Okay, now he finally asks a little bit, not even a lot, and the horse is making up plenty of ground compared to the rest of the field. And you know what's coming up, ladies and gentlemen? Pete and Paul know the gallop out. Look at that. I mean, blows by the winner, guys. I mean, completely blows by the winner. Now, the skeptics will say, Pete and Paul, well, who cares? It was after the wire. I care. I care a lot. I think that matters, guys. She had run. They chose not to use it, extensively in her first start. They wanted to give her an education. Not only that, guys, she closed up the inside, which I like a lot for an experience wise. So I think Suntory Time, I might get 5-6 to 1 here. I think she's much better than it shows. I'm hoping she's going to be a little bit closer. You know, she's going to come with a kick. I think she's really interesting in this race. Any final thoughts, Pete or Paul, in what's a pretty darn difficult mile and an eighth maiden California race? Sorry, one other thing I do want to say. Hello Kiddo Kiddo, the number 6, got pushed out in the first turn, like 3 or 4 wide, and is better than it looks on paper to me. Was out of that same race we just watched, guys. Distance, a major question, but it is Kitten's Joy on the dam side. Hello Kiddo Kiddo, the 6. Also another horse to look out. Many ways to go here, Pete and Paul, in leg 2.
Yeah, I thought the 1 was my next horse, and I could see moving the 1 up by Sunday when I take a secondary look. I did have one bad stat on the 1, which again was sort of a tiebreaker.
All right, let's go on to our race.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
Sorry,
this is
Pete,
one.
just
These are
joking.
one of those ones you don't like anyway, so I don't think it'll matter. Richard Baltus, 1 for 36 wins, second time starters in turf routes. So.
Just 1 for 30. Could have been 0 for 36, Paul.
And the combination of that and the worry is, can this horse break, or was that just the first start sort of greenness? And if it happens again, there's not a much pace in this race. So my concern was on the win end. Will there be enough pace if this horse can't break? And if that's her problem, but hopefully it's just, second time she's just better and not as green out of the gate.
Pete, I kid because I love. Just kidding.
Yes,
I know you do a great job with the stats, and look, I'm a math guy, so obviously I care about them. But we'll see.
Trust me, in some of these fields, there's bad stats on all of them because sometimes they're not the best field in the world. So,
yeah,
but you see which ones you like the best or like the least.
Leg 3, race 8 will go quickly. It's a 6-horse field. Allowance optional 20,000. They're on the dirt. Hard to say who the more like favorite's going to be. It might be Rousing Jewel from the inside, who, by the way, is the only one that's in for 20,000, which in general, I don't like horses that are in for the tag. I'm going 5-4-1. Paul's going 1-5-2, and Pete's going 1-3-4. So Pete and Paul are actually the same, which means, guess what, guys? I get to go first. I'm going to go with Big Pop, the number 5. And Big Pop, guys, there's something very interesting to talk about with Big Pop, and that's not the horse. That's the jockey. Welcome back to Takashi Kimura, who's back at Santa Anita, guys. Had an injury, has not ridden in a while, is riding this weekend, and guys, is staying in California, is not going to Woodbine, in case people didn't know that. That is a huge decision for a guy like Takashi Kimura, who is still, I believe, in his, mid-20s, I think, at this point. He has plenty of business out in California. And what is Woodbine's loss, guys, is Santa Anita's gain. He is going to be a major factor out there. He's, of course, ridden at Santa Anita before, guys, but now that he's going to be there full time, look out for Takashi Kimura to maybe win a jockey's title out there in the next few years. That's my opinion, Pete and Paul, and how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I like him. Go ahead, Paul.
I think he's good. I think he's good, and I don't know why you wouldn't stay in California. I mean, Woodbine's great, but certainly there are opportunities in California.
No doubt.
It's just top to bottom, not. It just doesn't have the depth it used to, top to bottom, as you're going to find out with Mike Smith in that previous race, Howard.
But
anyway.
Not only that, guys, the purses are going up a little bit as well.
Correct.
Off to San Diego.
Well, that's since Great Race Plays started. The
plus we're covering them now, so obviously it's going to be even bigger starting next time. Yeah.
I realize another reason why
he's good. There's no doubt about it, and it's good to see him back.
Good luck to UCLA, by the way. He's playing live right now, which is probably another reason why we don't have
quite
the numbers we usually do.
In Lexington.
They're in Lexington. That's right. They're battling Utah State right now and has a lead in the first half. Anyway, Big Pop, guys, ran just fine last time. A little disappointing. Was the favorite over Nene Diamond. So a bunch of horses are coming out of that race. I like the spacing. And I like the best outside speed. It's pretty much that simple for me. Spacing between the races, working well for Glatt, outside speed, should be able to stalk. I think you're going to see improvement from the 4-year-old filly. Going to have to possibly chase down the inside horse that you guys both have, Rousing Jewel. This time form number listed is not correct. I'm sure Pete noticed that right away. It says 68. It's like 90 something. She's the fastest in the field. If she runs her race 2 back, Pete and Paul, she's an obvious winner. But she's not exactly consistent, and she's in for 20. Those are my 2 concerns. What say you, Paul?
Well, let's look at the in for 20. It's a homebred that they spent $1,500 to breed, and she's earned $161,000. So
amazing.
I think they're okay with losing her for 20, which would put them at 181 plus whatever she gets in the in the purse. You talk about time form, Howard. You take a look at the time form here. I think it's right on target. I think this horse is long gone and hard to find in this race.
Yeah, I'm hoping Big Pop's going to be a little bit closer, but you could be right. I'm sure you echo the same sentiments, Mr. Visco.
Yeah, I thought it was sort of a pace play. There was one interesting thing I wanted to mention because just looking at this race, so we see a lot of the Northern California horses. They come and they come over and they make their first, second start at Santa Anita, and as this one did last time. But the funny thing is, I think we have to watch out for, and it's something maybe we'll talk about on the show, is when they come over, sometimes they come over and they're in the restricted race where it's restricted to Northern California horses. So they're sort of running against their same type of horses, even though now they're doing it at Santa Anita. Whereas this one is now open. This isn't a Northern California race. It's a state bred, and I think it's state bred, right? Yeah. And it's open to others. So it's just something to look at because you see them come over and you're like, oh, look, they ran well at Santa Anita. But did they run well against other Northern California horses, or did they run well against other Santa Anita horses? And I just think it's something to pay attention to. And it struck me that was one of the notes I had with this one. I still like her because of the pace advantage, like Paul said. Dean Peterson has been on fire.
I'll tell you one thing, Pete. The ride will be much different. I don't know what Aggie I was doing last time. 5th out of 6 early.
I didn't get it, Paul.
Martine from the rail will not be 5th out of 6th early. You could bet everyone's life on that.
I should have mentioned that as well. I think we're going to have the lead, and I like that. You see that 59-2 work last out too. So maybe it's just keeping that sharpness, and I think just guns to the lead, and we hope she can hold.
The class situation, Pete, is actually very, very good comment because that last race was restricted for the Northern California horse, and this one is not. So, although I do like when they have a race over the track, I think that helps them as well.
Yeah, I'm not even saying it as a knock. It's just more pay attention to it when you're looking at them, and just don't assume that they ran against other Santa Anita horses or whatever.
Look who's here, Matt Miller. Hi, all. Took me a while, but I'm caught up. Daughter home from college for spring break and landed a terrific job offer today. Whoa. Matt, we got to talk later, man. Congratulations on that. That is very exciting. I'm very happy for her. Fun family dinner. No admonition needed. Katie, good reason to be late. Wonderful. Well, that's very exciting. I'm anxious to talk to you, Matt, about Matt has 2 wonderful daughters, and one of them obviously just graduating from University of Wisconsin. Who also got
special ed teacher? So proud of Olivia. Beautiful.
Yes, Olivia, wonderful. That is really cool. So I'm happy for Olivia. I'm excited to hear. And not only is teaching a great profession, but for a special ed teacher, wow. I mean, you have to not only do you have to be excellent, you have to be very patient. And I'm sure Paul has a special affinity for all the special ed teachers and educators that work with our special needs students.
Dealing with Matt as a father, I assume she has a lot of patience, so I assume that's where it comes from. No, I would never do that. No, I would never make a joke like that. I was just saying it probably takes a lot of patience dealing with him day to day, right, Matt? So I assume patience is in her nature.
That is true for sure. Let's go on before we get ourselves in trouble. Let's go on to the last race of the day, guys, which is really a very interesting one. Starter optional allowance claiming 32 down to 25. This is how you're going to get paid in the late pick 4. And guys, before I actually talk about this very quickly, let's just mention we have some very special power pick tip sheets coming on this year with special only for Keeneland and Saratoga. We have international power picks. If you're interested, in our Power Picks tip sheets, and there's no reason why you shouldn't, because they've been very successful, very profitable, and very inexpensive. There's two things you can do. You can either sign up to get on our email list. Let me go and bring up that banner so you can see on the bottom of the screen. My email is hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. One word, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. Simply email me and say, Howard, I'd like to be put on your email list. Or Pete, how else can they find out about our upcoming brand new packages that we're going to be having for our Power Picks tip sheets?
Yeah, hopefully over the course of the next few days, there'll be a page on the website. So we'll post something, we'll put something in the email, we'll post stuff on X, we'll mention it on the show, but all the details will be out there on the website as well. So you'll have plenty of information. And again, it's Saratoga, Keeneland, International, lots of good, really exciting stuff, and maybe even some free stuff to go along with it related to the Derby and the Oaks. So all those details will be coming. And if you forget Howard's email, if you go to the website, just go to the contact us page and you can submit an email through there as well. And that'll go directly to Howard.
HHHRacingPodcast.com is our email. We also will plan to have Del Mar Power Picks. I shouldn't forget about Del Mar because Noah Meyer did a great job of those last year. And I'm assuming we're going to bring back a Del Mar only Power Pick tip sheet. So we got a lot going on here at the HHH Racing Podcast. Last race of the day, like I said, starter optional on the turf, 6.5 furlongs, not down the hill, rails are out 20 feet, big field of 12, but the 11 and 12 are AEs, so the main body is 10. I see no reason why they won't all be in. You'll never know. The 11, 12 might get in. I'm going 7-8-4. Paul's going 9-5-1, and Pete is going 10-8-1. Guys, another tough race. We're going 3 different ways here. Pete, don't swear Dave. I don't know if you know a Dave, but tell him not to swear because that's the one you're going with, the number 10 for Hector Palma and Tiago Pereira.
Yeah, we got RDW, Dave Duncan, right? He's not. I don't think he's in this. He's not in this chat. He was in the earlier chat, but I don't know if he's a swearer. But I'd like to swear, so I would never tell someone not to. By the way, I'm a complete idiot. Aside from the normal idiot stuff that I do, when we were on the earlier show, I said the last race I thought was the toughest. I was actually thinking of this sequence, thinking I thought this last race was really wide open, and I thought this one was a really fun handicapping and potential betting race. So this is the one I was thinking of. But yes, don't swear Dave. This one I was going back and forth with a bunch of different horses, and I don't know if you're going to show the replay, but that last race, which sort of fell apart, has what, 5 or at least 5 other runners.
1279. Yeah, 1279 is what you want to focus on. Don't swear Dave is the 9.
And Doncic, who is the leader most of the way and fades to 8th, is back in this field. But this race completely fell apart. There was, tons of pace up front, and you see Uncle Jim. I think Uncle Jim's the gray, not Uncle Jim, Moody Jim. Uncle Jim is your horse.
Moody Jim. Here's your horse right here in purple.
Yeah, and actually, if you can't see it from there, but you could see it a little bit. Yeah, the head on, you could see it. Was actually looked to be running with Moody Jim and looked to be sort of in stride with him and got pinched.
You think he was going as well, Pete?
I don't know if he was going as well. He was going better, I think, than he finished. But right here, look, like right here, he looks like he potentially gets the jump. And then the ride, I thought, was a little skittish.
He sort of ducked in, too. He was a little weird.
Yeah, it was a little weird, which is odd because it's not like this is some inexperienced horse. But I do think that if he cut back to, I thought, because he cut back to the sprint, he had been routing plenty of races before that, cut back to the sprint, I thought ran well enough. And now I think maybe he's just at a level and a distance that suits. And when you do that, I think he's just going to run better. And in this field, I think this field is going to come down a lot to trip and pace. And I'm hoping this one can work out sort of a similar stalking trip and actually get the jump on some of those deeper closers and maybe run down horses like Doncic, who I'm sure we'll talk about. But that was my thought with this one. I liked how he was running last time. I thought he got pinched, and I think he can get a similar enough trip with maybe not as hot of a pace, so you won't have all those closers just flying from straight ahead.
I think those are really good points. You're going to go one.
By the way, sorry, that was off a lengthy layoff. Now he's second off too. That was the only other thing I wanted to mention. So he might be a little sharper this time out. Sorry.
Pete,
Paul,
I
you're going to the inside.
I have a poo-poo stat on your 10, Pete.
Oh, beautiful. I love poo-poo stats.
Wow.
Throw it in. Let's do it.
Hector Palmer, 2 off of a 180 to 360 layoff, 0 for 14.
Oh, Hector. Damn you.
Poo-poo.
Hector,
Nice.
poo-poo.
Oh.
I don't get
Wow.
poo-pooed very often stat-wise, so I very much appreciate
I gotta
that.
try to contribute, Pete.
I gotta put that one on there. I don't like to put the negative stats when I send my picks out, but
Of course
every once
not.
in a while.
Good for you. Good for you, Paul. Hacking it up. Ayuso, who is, by the way, one of the favorite jockeys of our Pacific Horse Players host, Noah Maher, and I've been paying attention more to him. Armando Ayuso, his 13%, he's sneaky. He's sneaky good on the turf. You're going to go with Hacking It Up, who has some nice back numbers, Paul, sprinting especially.
Yeah, I too have been paying attention and have capitalized a few times. So hats off Noah for pointing that out. Yeah, I just think this race is a lot different. If you look at the time form favoring front runners, I mean, 56-4 last time, folks, which even for California is moving for a turf sprint. And if favoring front runners, you'd have to assume that it's going to be a more reasonable pace. And I kind of like this horse a little more now that we watched that last replay. Did have the lead in mid-stretch, got swallowed up when the race fell apart. Again, I think it's a different race this time. Howard, you point out, does have those 3 consecutive low 80 buyers. The race after that was washed off the turf, so throw that one out. You know, last time mid 70s. I don't know. I guess you're going to have to be around 80, low 80s to win this, but this horse can do it. And I just think it's going to be a lot different race than last time.
You know what I love about this game, guys? I don't like hacking up at all. Yeah, poo-poo. That's my poo-poo. You know what, Paul? This horse was really good in the fall, like really good, right? Okay, ran okay January 1st. Okay, 2 back was dirt, fine. Last race, I thought this horse was awful. I mean, I realized it was a fast pace, but had 0 excuses. Dropped down to a 75 buyer, is in for, actually he's not in for the tag. Actually, I take that back. Okay, I like him a little more. Sorry. I don't like the direction he's going, though. I'm a little worried that he's a little over the top. That he was really good. He got good late in last year. He's not quite the same. But actually, he's not in for the tag, so I don't like him as less as I originally thought. You guys talked about the speed. It feels to me in this race, and I'll admit this is a bit of a guess. It feels to me that going 6.5, guys, there won't be nearly as fast a pace. I think they're going to let Doncic go. And the fact that JJ's on this horse, second off the claim for Urton, I know he's a 7-year-old. I just don't think Peter Urton's going to claim this horse, guys, if he can't run anymore. And they're not going to put JJ on him if he can't run anymore. I think he's just going to be much, much better. Urton does much better second off the layoff. And if this 7-year-old gelding has anything left in the tank, guys, I think we're going to see it Sunday, and I think he could get loose into a much slower pace. I admit that I'm guessing. It's Rockingham Ranch. These are smart connections. And guys, I just have a hard time believing this horse is completely done. And if he is, I'll just be wrong. But I'm going to use yours. I'm going to use the 8. A lot of ways to go in this last race, Paul.
You always have to watch out when you have Rockingham Ranch. I agree.
Yeah.
By the way, Peter Urton's three straight wins first after the claim. He's got 3 straight wins.
Yeah,
so
I saw that, Pete.
You see that?
Wow.
Yeah. So he's claiming.
Interesting.
This is my 4. As you could see on there, I used the 7 for the pace advantage, but
yeah,
my concern was what if he's similar because his last 2 races were junk and now he's 7, and what if he's done? That was my worry. But if he could get loose, and I think he had a nice work too. So hopefully he worked in 35. coming out. It's only one of three, but he worked. So at least it showed he's got a little sharpness still, hopefully.
I'm reading between the tea leaves, and I like what I'm reading. There's this, the vibe to me is good here. Pete, you must have seen a particular advertisement. Was it perhaps this one?
Now offered at the Great Race Place. $3 late pick 3 featuring the last 3 races. $5 late double on the last 2 races. Both with a player-friendly 15% takeout. Every race day at Santa Anita Park.
Pete, you're going 3-5 with 1 with 1, 7, 8, 10 in your $3 late pick 3, which is $24. You're also going to play a $5 late double 1. That's the inside horse Rousing Jewel with 1, 7, 8, 10. That also costs $20 or in the $20 range.
Yes, yeah, I like to support those 2 bets because I think they're really fun, and they've been, since we've been doing this show, they've been paying pretty well too.
Yes, they have.
So you could catch some nice stuff, and I really like that one from the pace advantage. And then like I said, I thought that last race is tough. I think you can go a bunch of ways. So I was covering sort of the speed horse, the sitting just off horse, and I got one monster closer. So hopefully, whatever the hell happens, I got it. Yeah, Drake.
We have another upset, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like Drake beat Missouri by 10. Whoa. Nice win for Drake, the 11 seed. So good for them moving forward as the Bruins are up 12 here as we end our show. Terry Frank, a big fan of Drake. Let's see here. Back to Paul. Best bets, pick 4. Oh, wow. Throwing out pick 4. I like it. 149 with 2, 3, 4, 5 with 1 4, 5, 9. That is $24, Paul.
And I'll play it for $1. And I'm going to add your Doncha trust, so it's going to end up costing me $60.
Nice.
Hey, Paul, we need 3, 1, 1, and we would hit that. So I have the pick 3. We get 3, 1, 1. How's that? That comes in.
I went with the pick 4 because I do think that 1 is a likely winner in that 9th race. So I figured if I in a caveman situation, if I could build a ticket, you'll see I'm spread out all around them there. So single there, and then plenty of coverage in the other legs.
I like it.
I'm going right to the $5 day double, boys. I'm going to go 4-5. I am not going to use Rousing Jewel, and I might. Is that the name of the horse, guys? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is it Rousing Jewel?
Yes.
I think so, right? Might stuff me into a locker. And I'm okay with that because I think he's going to be 8-5. And I'm trying to beat him. So I'm going to go 4-5 with 7, 8 in a very competitive last race. I know this will I'll get paid. If I'm correct with 4-5 with 7, 8, I will get paid. I'll play it for the $5 base. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. That is your math lesson for today. You can thank Mr. Kravitz later. Although if you don't know those numbers, please work on your multiplication tables. Gentlemen, any final thoughts? Got another great Sunday at Santa Anita. And again, 2 weeks from this weekend is a major stakes day in California with the Santa Anita Derby, Santa Anita Oaks. I'm assuming we're going to see journalism versus Barnes versus whatever. I'll end the show, guys, by saying this. I put out something on X today, Thursday night, a little poll on which road to the Derby, which locale has been the best Derby preps. California won the poll. I gotta agree. I think journalism is the horse to beat right now. I don't think Barnes gets the distance, but you can't question the speed figs coming out of California, guys, this early spring and late winter. I think we would agree that California's got I won't say a hammerlock, but certainly a major factor this year in the Derby.
It's funny. I don't know if they've had the best preps, but I think they have the best horses.
Totally
but I don't think they haven't had the deepest of fields, but I think they have the top end of the horses for sure.
And who would have thought you'd be talking about a California horse with as good a chance to any to win it and it not being a Baffert? Because journalism's clearly the favorite right now.
That is an excellent point, wise sleuth Paul.
Although cornucopian seems to be the name that seems to be popping
up.
Right.
Yeah.
Stafford will
15
send
to
someone to
1.
Oakland to win Arkansas by 5 lengths. And then they're all of a sudden back in play.
Did I see like 15 to 1 in the future bets with Cornucopia?
Yeah. They should probably get him a Derby point first. No.
What in the world? What is going on? I mean, he could win the Breeders' Cup Sprint, in 8 months, but win the Derby off of one start. I mean,
well, when you win your Derby prep by 10, the way they're saying he's going to do, so.
Well, good luck. Is he going to run in Santa Anita, or is he going Arkansas?
I thought Arkansas. No,
Arkansas.
That's what I thought they said. I don't know if anybody. I don't know if that's just Twitter mumbo jumbo or that
makes sense.
Useful. Yeah,
it makes sense.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, guys, great job tonight. This has been episode 13 of Great Race Plays for good friends and co-hosts Pete Visco and Paul Halloran. This has been Howard Kravitz. Crush your bets this Sunday at the Great Race Plays here on Great Race Plays. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.